Hi, this is Editing Aubrey. I just want to apologize because the video's not in focus. I basically recorded it twice, and the first time it stopped recording, like, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes in, and then the second time, apparently it didn't focus on me. It's focused on the background behind me. So sorry about that. I was nervous to do this video like on camera, so I'm gonna upload it anyway just to complete the circuit of like inspiration, me actually doing it, and then like putting it out there. But yeah, it's not in focus. Anyway, enjoy. Bye. Hello, welcome to this tarot reading energy update for March of 2025. I can't believe it's already March. February was really weird. It was a weird month for me. I don't know about you. But anyway, March is going to be big. It's a big month astrologically. We have the Venus retrograde, which we're currently in. We have Mercury stationing retrograde. We have 2 eclipses. So it's a lot of bigger, like faster energies and processes initiating us at the same time. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So I've already pulled the cards. I actually did this reading yesterday and I had some sad technical difficulties and it basically like didn't record, so I'm here again. Yeah, but before I get into it, I just want to say that, you know, these readings are general, so some parts might resonate with you, some might not, and that's totally okay. Just take what resonates, leave the rest. And the way that I conceptualize them is not really like predictions of what's to come or, you know, the exact themes we're going to see or even the dominant themes, but rather the invitations that we're being presented with that will help us move through the energy of March. It's just what I'm opening up my channel and tuning into the guidance and cards, and it's the invitations that want to come through, that are ready to come through. So just some context in how I look at this. But yeah, let's get into it. So our card for the month, like the central invitation of the month, is 4 of Swords. So that's really interesting. I definitely wasn't really expecting that, but I think it makes sense and in a way is kind of comforting. So as I said, there's a lot happening astrologically, energetically. There's a lot happening in the world. And, I think we're all going to be going through a lot of change and transition in this month and the time to come. It might be really explicit and sort of external in our lives, but it also might be more internal. It might be something that we're really conscious of or something that we're not as conscious of, but it is happening. So the 4 of Swords essentially invites us into mental rest, to taking a break from our thoughts, our processing, some part of our mental energy. We're being invited to take space from and to give ourselves space around, maybe in the way that we're relating to it, maybe by distracting ourselves in like a positive and healthy way, like giving ourselves those pockets of time, sort of like a little mini vacation, or reading a really good book, getting into a new show, something like that. It can also be like sometimes working is what we need in order to, we need to immerse ourselves in a project or in work in order to kind of create that space from whatever it is that's weighing us down mentally. And I love this because it's kind of like, it's like a permission slip. Like there's a lot going on in life in general. There's a lot going on this month. It's a big month, so it's about remembering that it's okay to, it's not only is it okay, but it's actually going to be a potent stepping stone for our personal growth, for us to keep in mind this need for mental breaks from processing, breaks from maybe witnessing or tuning in. Maybe it's the news, whatever it is for you. It's likely there's always lots of things happening at various scales. So it's a powerful energy, So we also have the 10 of Swords, the 9 of Swords, and the 2 of Wands. And we have this card from the Soul's Journey deck, the card of Doubt. So a lot of sword energy. With 10 of Swords, we are stepping into a new cycle. We're leaving one cycle. We also have the card of transition and initiation, which is very much like these astrological energies. That's very much what we're in and what we're going through. So the 10 of Swords it has to do with stepping into a new cycle as it relates to some part of our mental energy, our processing, our thoughts, maybe the stories that we've been running and attached to, some part of our programming. But I like to see this here, because this card comes up when whatever it is, could be one thing, could be a cluster of related things that we're essentially in a death process around them and stepping out of them and into something new. And when this card comes up, we are ready. We might not feel ready, and we might not feel like that's happening. It can be kind of a wobbly, it's not a linear process, but that's happening. So, and it also means that we've been doing work and that's my cat, we've been learning from this process. Hold on a sec. So, it means that we've been learning and we're ready. It's not even just that we're ready, it's happening. And it's interesting because we have this readiness and this change, and then our invitation is to just take a break. Give ourselves some space. So, and we have the 9 of Swords here as well, which has to do with, it's calling attention to our fears and really inviting us to get curious about them and to kind of shine a light on them and to remember, especially, with this card coming up, that feelings aren't facts, fears aren't facts. Might be good to be aware of tendencies for like worst case scenario thinking. Can be really slippery. But yeah, and so the 9 of Swords, being aware of worst case scenario thinking, and honestly, like, just giving ourselves space to be like, you know what, like, I'm not even gonna engage with this right now. And however we're able to whatever extent we're able to. I think with the Four of Swords, it really feels like a permission slip to just like, and with the Nine of Swords and the Ten of Swords, these things flare up within this context of tarot. These cards come up when we're having these flares as part of a contraction that is happening because of this deeper change and this deeper expansion that we're being initiated into. It's precisely because of that new cycle that we're approaching that some of these things can flare up as we're ultimately walking through them and away from them and into they're being kind of like burned off of us. So yeah, we also have the Two of Wands, and the Two of Wands can also be, you know, so I learned tarot from Lindsay Mack, and one little like catchphrase kind of thing she says about Two of Wands is going low and slow. So I think like there is kind of an energy here of taking a break, being, you know, allowing ourselves to do that and being present enough to know when we need that to the best of our abilities. And, you know, for me personally with the Two of Wands, I feel like there can be these sort of energetic flares almost that I experience where it feels like my inner flame gets kind of like dialed up and I feel like I really need to do something, or, you know, I really want to put my energy in this, and it's kind of like the cards reversed. And I think with this energy, it can be wise to kind of remember to bring things back to center and to really give ourselves the space to kind of check in with that flame and make sure that the way that we're tending that flame, the way that we're allowing it, you know, how we're working with that dial is sustainable, is in alignment with a deeper and vaster kind of scale than maybe what our impulse is as we're moving through that. Yeah. And so we also have, you know, okay, well, the last thing I'll say here with these tarot cards is that doubt energy. You know, I think that it's possible that many of us will, with all of this sword energy, be working through doubt within ourselves, you know, self-doubt, ways that our thinking and our stories can kind of hold us back, you know. So really potently moving through this, and to the extent that we're able, just decoupling from that in some way, giving ourselves space from our doubts and allowing ourselves to initiate change essentially and partake in that process. So we also have, we have the Indigo Milk Cap card from the Mushroom Spirit Oracle. I can't tell if it's focusing. Anyway, so I'm gonna read this description. It's Indigo Milk Cap, and the caption, like the subtitle, is True Colors. So interesting energy. All right. So the guidebook says, let your true colors shine from within. Some people cannot hide who they are, and some never show their true colors. The indigo milkcap is a stunning mushroom. With its distinguishing features, it can't be mistaken for anything else. When you cut it in half, the color inside is that of the outside. Your internal environment reflects in your external environment and vice versa. You show who you truly are from the inside, and this should be celebrated. This card may be asking whether somebody is showing their true colors or hiding them from view. Do you know your friends inside out? Do you know yourself inside out? When you understand yourself fully, it gives you a wealth of information to understand others. Do you see traits in others that are red flags? Always trust your intuition when it comes to people and situations you find yourself in. Your gut tells you when something doesn't add up, like when somebody says one thing and does another. Take notice of these things and the people around you. Do you really need these kinds of influences in your life? You always have options open to you. You can choose to walk away from or confront them. Remember, masks can only last so long before true colors show through. If it is you who needs to show your true colors, step into your power and do it. The time is here. So, again, interesting energy here. I feel like with this Venus retrograde, this is a really good time to go deep within ourselves and explore, like, to go deeper within intimacy, like in all areas of our lives, and to really get curious around how intimate we are with ourselves. Like, are we aware of how we really feel? You know, are we being authentic? Are we being authentic with ourselves, honest with ourselves? You know, we all have blind spots, gaps in our limitations of our awareness in terms of our feelings, our motivations. Some people definitely struggle with this more than others. It depends on the situation. And I feel like it's a good time to kind of go deep and look at those deeper currents within ourselves, within our relationships, within others around us. Yeah. There's definitely an element of discernment this card's talking about, and I think that, you know, that is probably part of the invitation for this month for many of us, part of this Venus retrograde. Yeah, so we also have Brothers of the Rose and the Wastelands. So these two cards are really interesting and they kind of play into one another. The Wastelands is about a king who has essentially broken the trust of these well-maiden spirits that guard his land. And so he's kind of, it's like the idea is like this masculine energy has broken its responsibility to guard and protect the feminine. And as a result, his land, like the wells dry up and all of the nature begins wilting and dying. And the Brothers of the Rose is about that sacred masculine within this context that's understood to be, you know, I think protecting the feminine, protecting the earth, protecting what is sacred and tender. And it's interesting, but I feel like there's this theme here of coming into that masculine within yourself, within ourselves, and both in terms of our relationship with ourselves and with other, you know, other things, but this role of kind of protector, right? And I'm in no way commenting on masculinity and femininity in terms of actual people That's, yeah, but it just, these are the energies that are being, this is, you know, within the ecosystem of these cards and how they're understood in the deck. It's talking about that part of ourselves that knows when boundaries need to be laid, that knows when to say no, when to walk away, when to be disciplined, you know, can intervene in order to protect, but also in order to nurture and cultivate and bring that structure in, right? So thinking about the masculine in these ways. And it's just symbolic. Like, if that term doesn't resonate with you, that's completely fine. But I do feel like there's this, maybe an inquiry here, an invitation to kind of honor that part of ourselves and to strengthen that and to exercise that, and to maybe do some inquiry around our relationship and our balance between those two things. I know for me, this is an area of my life that it's a deep lesson for me, you know. So we also have the sexual energy card here, reversed, and you know, it's right on the same line in this reading, and it does make me think, of course, of like, you know, with this idea of the masculine protecting the feminine, but symbolically in this context, like protecting and nurturing that part of ourselves, right? Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot there. It's a huge theme. But yeah, anyway, I feel like there is some discernment and sort of like inner protector energy here that I think is being called upon within us this month, and also this sort of this sustainability and this focus on treating ourselves and the landscape of our life as precious and sacred, and honoring that, like perceiving that and acknowledging that enough to kind of to really motivate ourselves to make decisions that are good for us, to let that help us to know how to use our energy, know how to apply that flame, and to maybe help bolster us and give us strength if we need to make some hard decisions, if we are seeing red flags in people or in situations or dynamics or in ourselves. So yeah, there's a lot there. And you know, the sexual energy, it's Venus retrograde. And this card is very much about the whole spectrum of like kind of sacral energy. So, you know, our life force energy, our creativity. It's a good time to go deep in that way with ourselves and within our relationships and however that's relevant for us. Yeah, and I like that the card is reversed actually, because it kind of parallels the retrograde, which is interesting. But it's a good time to bring some presence, some care, some nurturing energy to this part of yourself. And I think everybody needs that in different ways. So it's going to be deeply personal. Yeah, for some of us, we may be working in masculine energy or with themes of masculinity. It's so hard to generalize about that, in my opinion, so I don't know how much to say there, but masculinity, sacred masculinity, however that means, like whatever that means for you, these may be themes. And then lastly, we have forgiveness. And yeah, that's kind of a perennial theme. But I think as we move through really like the potency and the dynamism of this time, it's gonna be good to remember to be gentle with ourselves and others, to be gentle with our past selves. You know, it's the retrogrades are times of review, and we're often, I was gonna say forced, we're often invited to revisit themes from the past. So with ourselves, with others, you know, and of course forgiveness is never, it's not something that forces or asks us to bypass our boundaries. But yeah, it's just here, so I'm naming it. Yeah, I think just want to circle back to that Four of Swords energy and really permissioning ourselves to be gentle with ourselves, to take it easy, to permission the heck out of ourselves, to let us take breaks if we need it, to have mental breaks from the things that we need to have breaks from. That's going to be personal and individual, but yeah, I hope you take such good care of yourself. I hope you get really juicy, like transformative, liberating breaks, like honestly, and all of that. Like I hope, you know, I hope we all are able to feel some of the juice and the power of this time and really appreciate ourselves for everything we've been going through, everything we've been holding and processing and transmuting. And yeah, take care. I'll see you later. Bye.